So you set up your reverb in your track and everything's sounding great. You're getting a lot of dimension, your vocals are sounding 3D and your drums are sounding nice and everything's just coming together. But is there anything that you can do to make that reverb sound even better? Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 quick reverb tricks that the pros use to further enhance their reverb. Let's jump in. Okay, so here I have a vocal that's already tuned and processed with a backing track. I'm just going to play it for you. This is the vocal completely dry.
I want to sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages, you're always there. I still picture many scenes, fulfilling all my dreams.
Now the first trick, let's just get this one out of the way. Don't only have one reverb that you go to. Try to have at least 2 or 3 set reverbs that you have on templates or presets that you can always pull from, and this way you'll keep your track a little bit interesting and use the right reverbs for the right places and on the right instruments at the right time. So, for instance, you'll notice down here that I have one long reverb. This is a chamber at almost 3 seconds, and then I have a room reverb, and then I have a sheen reverb. So the long reverb sounds something like this. I'm going to solo it and just blow it out of proportion for now.
I want to sing these phrases for all to hear.
That's the long reverb, and that's the reverb I would use predominantly on this song because it's more of like a slow ballad strings type of song. And the next reverb I have is a room reverb, which is just what it sounds like. It's a room reverb that's just a little shorter, and a lot of times I'll use this on my drum bus to try to put everything into a room or on various instruments. And sometimes I'll even use it on vocals if the song calls for it or a specific part calls for it. So this is what that sounds like.
I want to sing these phrases for all to hear.
And that's my room reverb. And then I have a sheen reverb. So that's those two you should for sure have. One long reverb, one shorter reverb. And the third reverb is kind of optional, but it's always good to have another kind of reverb that you're always pulling, and you're always that's kind of in your like presets that you're able to pull from. And my reverb that I set up over here is just a little bit of a different type of reverb. So when I feel like something calls for a little bit of something different, then I'll put on this sheen reverb. It sounds like a sheen. It sounds a little bit longer, a little bit more tinny and high-endy. So this is what this sounds like.
I want to sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages, you're always there.
Trick number 2. EQ your reverb. There's no reason for your reverb to be hogging so much space in the frequency spectrum. Simple fix for this is just take a reverb, roll off all the highs and roll off all the lows to your taste. And I'm going to do that in this song. So I'm going to put on my regular reverb.
For all to hear. Through the dark.
And I'm just going to take an EQ and literally just roll off all the low end and plenty of high end too. So now my reverb is not hogging more space than it needs to be hogging.
I want to sing these phrases for all to hear.
Okay, trick number 3. Use pre-delay. Almost always. This will separate the reverb signal and your vocal signal, and it will give each of them their own little space, and they're not fighting with each other as much. So, as you can see, my Lexicon reverb has about 33 milliseconds. That's good enough of a delay, of a pre-delay, and it just adds a little bit of separation. So this is with 0.
I want to sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages.
Okay, trick number 4. This is a big one for me. This is a little bit of a secret, and not as many people know this, but this is so useful to be able to, again, have everything have everything in its own little space. The reverb should be in its own space, the vocal should be in its own space, and they shouldn't be really fighting with each other. And this is, trick number 4 is to sidechain compress your reverb to the signal you are sending to your reverb. And I'm going to explain how this all works in just a second. But before we get into it, I just want to mention that if you are looking to either upgrade your home studio or start a home studio from scratch and you don't know what to buy and you need good gear recommendations, I want to give you my free home studio gear guide linked below somewhere. It has options available for every budget, so it doesn't matter where you fall in, you'll benefit from it. Go download it and enjoy. Okay, now getting into the trick. You want to add a compressor to your reverb, and in this case I'll use an arc compressor. What we're trying to do basically is sidechain this compressor to the vocal signal. So this will help that whenever the vocal is playing, the reverb gets compressed a little bit, and whenever the vocal lets up, the reverb will come to life a little bit, and this will have your reverb ducking at the right times, coming back in at the right times, and it won't just be so straight and static and lifeless. It will sound like it has a little bit of life to it. It's coming in, it's coming out, and it'll also give the vocal a little space to breathe. So how do we do this? In Pro Tools, we're just gonna send our vocal to a bus. So we're gonna go to bus 3. We'll make it pre-fader. Then we'll go to our compressor and we'll go to the sidechain input, go to bus 3. And now we're going to compress based on our liking. So usually you want to use a pretty fast release, somewhere around 30, and not super fast attack, but like a medium attack, like 4. And this will be adjusted if you feel like it's ducking or coming in too fast or too slow. You can always adjust these parameters. So let's take a listen.
I wanna sing these phrases for.
Let's take a ratio of like 2.5.
I wanna sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages, you're always there. I still picture many scenes.
And now what's happening is that every time the vocal is playing, the reverb is getting compressed and it's ducking out to let the vocal shine through. And when the vocal is letting up a little bit, the reverb comes in, and that's when you're able to when the reverb is able to shine through. So everything's really getting its own little pocket, and it's really, really nice. So this is with the compressor.
I wanna sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages, you're always there.
Again, little differences like this adding up make all the difference. Okay, my 5th and final trick is a little bit out there, and you can use this whenever you feel the song calls for it or you want to do something different, and that is to add a delay before the reverb. And this will give an interesting effect, and you can experiment with it and see what you think. Here, I'll demonstrate. So I'm going to duplicate this reverb, and I'm going to name it reverb and delay. And I'm going to add a delay of choice. In this case, I'm going to do Echo Boy. And since we're in a 3/4, we're going to do 1/4 triplets. I'm going to do the mix like almost all the way, not completely wet. And I'll turn off the other reverb that we did. And now I'm going to send to that reverb, and I'll demonstrate how it sounds.
I wanna sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages, you're always there.
It gives this like huge impactful effect and can be very useful. And you can always just mix it in a little bit with your other reverb. That's what I like to do. So,
I wanna sing these phrases for all to hear. Through the darkest stages.
And I get a nice balance between the two of them. And I'm also gonna copy the EQ and compressor that we did from before. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video, and let me know which of these 5 tricks was the most useful or insightful or cool to you. I'm curious to know. And if you have any more pro reverb tricks, I would love to hear from you. So drop that all in a comment below. And again, go grab my free gear guide. You're going to love it. And till next time.